Jim finally get married.
We're ready.
Kidding. Oh, he's married to a girl.
All right.
Yeah, we can put you in.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the West Basin Municipal Water District's board meeting. And I will call it to order. First item up is we will have a determination of form, Mr. General Manager.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. Director Scott Houston.
Here.
Director John Deere.
Here.
Director Gloria Gray. Director Harold Williams.
Here, sorry.
And President Desi Alvarez.
Here. And we have Vice President Williams lead at the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'd be happy to.
Please repeat with me the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someday.
To say except 8th graders when I was doing it. School.
Okay, next item is public comment. Do you have any members of the public that would like to address the board?
Yes, Mr. President, we did receive one request for public comment. It did come in from Mr. John Monson from the National Park Conservation Association. So, Mr. Monson, you will have 3 minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just wanted to confirm. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thanks very much. President Alvarez and board members, I'm representing the NPCA. Thanks for letting me speak today. It's been a few years and I wanted to catch you up on some recent information about the Cadiz Water Mining Company and some of the things it's up to. We all know that the project has no path forward. At the state level, Governor Newsom, the legislature passed legislation in 2019 that effectively blocked Cadiz from exporting desert water. In 2023, the Biden administration issued an unfavorable decision to Cadiz, stating the project would be subject to intensive federal environmental review. Given its decades of failure, Cadiz is trying to rebrand itself once again, despite the fact, as LA Times writer Michael Hiltzig points out, it's hard to think of a company that carries more toxic baggage than Cadiz, unquote. His report covers the strategy of incoming Cadiz CEO Susan Kennedy to rebrand the company as a social justice crusader for underserved communities, which is a cynical ploy and an empty promise. As detailed in the LA Times in Politico, a new organization called Groundswell for Water Justice has surfaced as a front for Cadiz. The Groundswell Group has tried to help Cadiz in federal litigation, and it has also drafted legislation that allows Cadiz to bypass state laws, like SB 307 of 2019. The article exposed that Cadiz is financing Groundswell. The Groundswell organization used the image of revered labor leader Dolores Huerta. She wrote a scathing response. Let me read from Ms. Huerta's letter to the state legislature about Groundswell. Quote, I am writing to express my opposition to the efforts of Groundswell, which is an astroturf group designed to pass damaging policies while co-opting the language of environmental justice. Their efforts are focused on gaining approval for the environmentally harmful Cadiz water mining project. Ultimately, all the rebranding in the world can't change the fact that the desert damaging project has been dead for decades and continues to have no place in California's water future. Thank you for the time to let me share this quick update. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Monson. Mr. President, that concludes the requests that you have received, though this meeting has been held both in person and virtually. If any member of the public would like to speak now under public comment, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand or stepping up to the podium if you're here in person. Mr. President, I do not see any requests.
Okay. Then we will move on to presentations today. We'll start out with Viola's 2023 annual report.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. As you can see with our audience here, we do have numerous guests here from Veolia. And for this presentation, we will have Veolia Western Region President, Mr. Robert Kuda.
What did you say? Going away. Back up.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having us. Veolia is very pleased to be here to present to you the 2023 annual report for the Edward C. Little Water Recycling Facility. Sorry, I'm having some trouble here. I'm Robert Kuda. I'm the regional president for Veolia. And this is the team that's going to be presenting to you, as well as you can see we have a whole bunch of support here to answer questions later as well. And I'm going to use a little levity here today, and we attached some personas to these to help you understand what each of our employees do as it relates to the West Basin Project. So I'm the conductor. I'm the orchestrator. I bring all of our parts together to make the facility sing and make beautiful music. With me as well as CV, he is our builder. He is the one who does the construction project management for Veolia. Next is our boots on the ground general manager, Christian. And he is, sorry, I'm having trouble here. He's a captain. He's running the ship over there. Next is Usi, our director of operations. He's the machine. He's the one who gets it done. And he's followed by Art, who puts Art in smarts. He's our technical director. And then our support team includes Aditya, who is the face. He's here, there, and everywhere. So you see his face all over the project. Next is Purdy, who's our Director of Asset Management. She's the gallant, the brave. We have the ace, Roxanne, who's here. She's our HR partner for the project. And then finally, the money, and that's Ricky, our finance manager. So in revitalizing water in 2023, and I should have said too, you all should have a hard copy of our annual report. It's available. There's a few more down there if anyone did not get them. But this is a depiction of both the ECL as well as the satellite facilities of Chevron, Torrance, and Carson. Couple high level comments on this is we had a 45% increase in our barrier water production year on year for 2023, but we also saw a 14% reduction in the demand for Title 22 water. So next, I want to introduce you to three important highlight numbers for the year. And the first is 27.2, and that's the million gallons per day that we were able to produce and distribute for 2023. Next is the number 22, and that's the number of global water technologists and other leaders of our company who were brought to bear on West Basin, on the plant to help with issues and optimize. And then finally, there was laser focus during the past year on reduction of open work orders, and we saw a lowering of that number by 69%. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Art, who's going to talk about Hyperion water quality issues.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. The one graph that I wanted to share with everybody is, as shown on the screen here. This is influent water turbidity coming from a Hyperion, and as we've all talked about over the last several months and even last couple of years, there was significant upset at Hyperion back in 2021. There was a significant drop in the turbidity following that upset, but the point that we wanted to show with this graph is that we still have issues with the Hyperion influent turbidity. You see from the beginning of the year, we were in the mid 30s to mid 40s on the left side of the graph. And it's been trending down slightly, but really stabilizing in the last 3-4 months of 2023 in the mid 20s. And the key point around this issue is that the plant was designed around an influent NTU of around 10. So we're still well above the design criteria for influent turbidity. And what that does is it influences or impacts our need to use ferric chloride for coagulating the solids, removing the turbidity, and also in producing more sludge that then has to be processed through the backwash clarifiers and ultimately into dewatering and out through the trucks. So in order to try and address the issue of the elevated but somewhat stabilized influent turbidity, we started a significant program back in August of 2023. We did some significant training on jar testing for not only the plant staff, but also the engineering staff at the site, so that they could do daily jar testing and validate that the jar tests and the ferric dosing that was being applied was appropriate. So in other words, we wanted to make sure we were applying the amount of ferric needed for the turbidity coming in, but no more, so that we could make sure that we were not having any further impacts on iron levels in the product water, which we know was a significant issue back in 2022 and into 2023. The other issue that we focused on significantly in 2023 was managing the solids inventory in the plant. As I mentioned on the previous slide, we were generating more sludge because we were using more ferric. We were removing more turbidity from the high influent turbidities coming from Hyperion. So managing that solids inventory became even more critical, making sure that the solids are being processed, they're getting into the sludge storage tanks, properly thickened through the GBTs, and ultimately dewatered through the plate and frame presses. As part of that, we identified a bunch of maintenance items or issues that CV and I, with the CPM, CV with the capital programs group, and I'm with the technical support group, we worked together on addressing those items, identifying them, prioritizing them. And I'm going to hand it over now to CV, and he can talk about a little bit of the capital work and maintenance work that was undergone in the latter part of 2023.
Thanks, Art. So in Veolia, we have this process called a think tank process. So what it is we get subject matter experts from various different fields, such as compliance, process, technical, as well as construction and engineering groups, all of them into a room, walk the plant, come up with solutions, suggestions for improving operations, as well as taking care of existing issues. And I was one of the 22 members when we had the think tank process along with Art. What we did was we took a holistic look at the plant, not just the process part, but any safety considerations, any process improvements, just all of the above. And we worked on numerous things, such as the lime silos was one of the big pieces of equipment which needed a lot of help. There were communication issues, as well as electrical, as well as mechanical issues. So all of those were addressed in very short order after the think tank process. The other one was also the sludge tank. It was as a direct consequence of the upset in Hyperion a couple of years back. There still was an extraordinary amount of sludge and solids in the tank. So it kind of had to be metered and kind of dewatered and cleaned out without upsetting the overall process. So that's what we focused on. There were also a few electrical and communication issues, which collaboratively we worked as in the immediate aftermath of the think tank process, using our contracting partners as well to kind of bring the plant, to rectify several of the needs of the plant. And with that, Lucy will talk about the outcomes of the actions that we took last year.
Right. Speaking of production, we work hand in hand with the West Basin operation team, monitoring our production, meeting the targets, as well as monitoring equipment performance. So for the barrier process, we produced about 2,500 million gallons of water, which is a 45% increase from the year 2023. And this is a result of the work that we've been doing with Art and the technical performance team into monitoring the turbidity coming into the plant, as well as continuously monitoring the performance of the membranes with other technical experts, as well as the West Basin operation team, and continuously working on maintenance items that impact the integrity of our membranes, such as the air supply systems. For the Chevron refinery, on the nitrified side, which is water that comes from Title 22, with the work that Art has been doing, the water quality going to the satellite plant is much better, meaning that there's less iron in the water, and that impacts the performance of the nitrification system at each of the satellites. Speaking of Chevron, we produce about 1,400 million gallons of water for the nitrified process, 580 million gallons for the low pressure boiler feed, almost 900 million gallons for the high pressure boiler feed, and 3 million gallons for NRG. Moving on to Torrance. Torrance, again, the water that Torrance receives comes from ECL, Title 22, better water quality, which resulted into 785 million gallons for the nitrified process and close 784 million gallons for the boiler feed process. This is also a reflection of the hard work that we do with West Basin operation team into monitoring the performance of our membranes, as well as our nitrified system. For the Marathon refinery, It's important to say that West Basin is working on a capital improvement project, which the Veolia team is supporting West Basin Engineer. At the moment, we are working on the commissioning of the new microfiltration system, which will then in turn increase the production for the boiler feed. And for the future, I think that we are very confident that we'll be meeting the refinery needs. So for the boiler feed, we produced almost 1,300 million gallons. And for the nitrified process, almost 230 million gallons, which is right on target with the refinery blend ratio target. Next, I'll pass it over to Christian.
Thank you. Well, I'm proud to present something I'm passionate about, which is community engagement and outreach that we've done. Last year, we participated in the Fall Water Harvest Festival, along with we have our STEM outreach, which was accomplished at UCLA. We also have a Veolia Academy. So that's a great public platform that we have available to those interested in the industry. And I believe we have approximately 3,000 participants in that to date. So some things that we are very proud of. Moving on to financial performance. We have, of course, our labor numbers, which hit the target there. Chemicals, maintenance, as you can see. Looking at the waste disposal, you'll notice that variance, which was mainly attributed to in 2023 is waste remediation. So cleanup efforts as we engage and work through our processes and just cleaning that. Some of that has filtered into 2024, but like I said, our efforts, a lot of those are one-time single event incidences. So we're moving forward on that, not incidences, but essentially one-offs. Moving on to lab, as you can see, we had slight variance there as well. That was generally associated with analyzer maintenance contracts that were established, some new contracts, some equipment to ensure that the maintenance is being done on the analyzing equipment. Additionally, as my colleagues mentioned, with our optimization of chemicals and processes, additional sampling was associated with that for validation. So that describes that. And the key part is our total, right? Our total number, which through all the ups and downs and challenges associated, our overall number, we were essentially meeting our target for 2023. With that being said, I'll go ahead and hand it back over to Rob.
Thank you. So just a word about our hiring and other processes. I wanted to make mention about some of our policies and practices. And so our in-house talent advisors are given outreach goals and good faith goals in sourcing diverse candidates for project. That includes minorities, women, military, and disabled. And those same talent advisors are also given access to national diversity power vendors. And these power vendors are groups that take our postings and blast them cross country to job boards that ordinarily would not be hit in standard practice, that get to these groups that we're seeking for applicants. Works quite well. The other thing that we do is our legal team leads our affirmative action training for our talent advisors. And in doing that, we want to bring fairness to the hiring process, ensure that that happens. And then lastly, the fun part is we have been very active in job fairs. And we participated in over 25 job fairs in 2023. And an example of some of the local job fairs that we participated in were the reach out to the military, both in San Diego and Los Angeles. And then there was also a water education seminar at Santiago Canyon College. But I also wanted to mention, what does this all mean for West Basin? Well, I should say, I'm sorry, that Unite LA has been a tremendous source of talent for us as well, for our interns, to which we hired 4 this year. But last year we transitioned some of those internships into full-time positions. But what does this mean to West Basin? Is that in 2023, we had 18 vacancies. Of those 18 vacancies, we filled over 72% with diverse candidates. Of that same diverse set of candidates, proud to say that 28% were women. So it's showing its value. I wanted to mention compensation as well. And in addition to our team constantly looking at the economic propositions that we have from our postings, we also take an internal look at positions that have similar function and responsibility and look across our company to make sure certain that there's fairness there from a race, gender, and ethnic background perspective, so that we are treating our employees fairly from that perspective as well. Certifications, we are a company that embraces and supports our employees who want to gain higher levels of certification. We pay for their training for those tests. We pay for the tests. Once they obtain, we bonus for those achievements and celebrate them. And at the project at ECL, we have 29 employees with certifications. And in the report, you see that we celebrated 3 with increases in their certification from 2023. We have actually additional 2 in the book. We have 3 more operators who enjoyed that experience as well. And then we also invest in additional training where we took 5 people from El Segundo here and took them to Texas for specialty membrane treatment training and brought that back to the project as well. A last comment on Buy America, Build America, Buy America, which is associated with the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. It really doesn't apply to the work that we do here at West Basin. It's really related to capital projects that are funded through that second program I mentioned. But nonetheless, we have laser focus in our sourcing of our materials, supplies, and vendors in doing our work here. And I'm happy to say that in 2023, we had way over 50% of our sourcing were from US-based companies. Lastly, I just wanted to share a word about reminding you what we bring to the table to this partnership. And what that is Veolia is, the largest contract water operator in the state, as well as the world. And we've been in the state for 52 years, over a century. With that, we've assembled some 1,300 employees in the state. We have 22 grade 5 wastewater operators in our ranks. We were recently named top 40, top of the world, I guess, water company by Global Water Intelligence. And we intend and continue to bring all of that expertise and scope and scale to the benefit of West Basin. So on behalf of this presentation team, our audience members who are here to help with questions, should there be some, I want to move on to questions from the board. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Judah. Appreciate your presentation. Any board members have any questions?
I have a question. Any grade 5 people here?
Yes, sir. We do have grade 5 operator,
Chief
chief plant operator.
Congratulations.
Any questions?
He said,
Director Gray, go ahead.
Well, I think Director Deer.
Oh,
Did you finish?
he said over a century, but it's 52 years. That's
I'm
not,
sorry, I said half a century.
Yeah.
I meant to say, did I say century?
it's not like,
Oh, I can't, apologize.
hope you don't send your bills out the same way.
Fair comment.
How about a grade 3? Any grade 3s in here?
we should have it.
That was that's the
Yeah, Director Deer, do you have? any-
At the plant, we have, 4 grade 3s. Most of our lead operators are grade 3s.
Director Gray, go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, all of you, for your presentation. It was very comprehensive and informative, and you all know that water recycling is the hallmark of West Dixon, and certainly the NC Little plant. So thank you for the partnership and the information about your plan. I do have some questions about your academy and some of your outreach efforts in your presentation in terms of some of the diversity that you're looking at, which is great. And so in your academy, I think you mentioned there are 3,000 participants.
Yes,
So how many are actually in our service area that are enrolled in your academy? Do you have those numbers?
I don't. That's a great question. I'll have to come back to you on that stat. I know that it's open to a public platform. So I don't have the metrics at this time, but we can get that to you.
Yes, because to me, it's always important, the outreach efforts where you go to get candidates or participants. And so that's always a struggle. And we all have kind of talked about diversity here on the board, general manager, and outreach is very important to let folks know. And so if you could provide a report on where your participants are coming from, by division and by the area. And I think you mentioned an internship program that you hired, I believe you said 4 or 6. And
4 this year of the set last year, we
Yeah.
hired 2.
and break down the diversity of the women, great, you said 4 categories, women, minorities, military veterans. And if you can give us, I think we all would want to know about that. Because it is a partnership in, getting young people, anyone involved in the industry at this point is very important because they are our future. And so I commend you for your outreach, but I really would think those kinds of, that kind of information would be important. I know to me and I believe everyone, because diversity is very important moving forward. I believe it makes a better product, a better company. It's just best for society, I believe.
Director Gray, if I may, just to elaborate, when Christian says it's an open platform for Veolia Academy, it's free and available to everyone, even our competitors. And so what we're really trying to do is bring in anyone who's interested in the field for the benefit of our industry.
Right.
Because the labor market is tight. And we want to invite those that just even have an interest in hopes that we can, keep them in and show them that it's not just a job in this area, it's a career.
It's a career, it's a public service to be involved in. I think the key is to get to them, for them to become interested, to hear the information so they can become interested. And so that's always a challenge. And I know there's competition out there. So again, thank you. And you mentioned you pay for certification for those to be certified, which is extremely appealing to anyone in the industry. So I commend you for that effort. So thank you very much for being here.
And thank you also for discussing outreach. Your presentations, both of you at the El Camino College. You know,
You were there.
I was at the Q&A table. Yes, I was one of the 3 selected, you know, for Q&A.
Yeah,
The experts, but-
president was there.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you that, and we're focused on local talents, right? Bring that in, working with Unite LA and other programs. So I'm excited to be here and to be part of that. Yes, we will. We will provide that as an action. Thank you.
Thank you. All of you.
Commissioner Houston.
Sure, I just wanted to say a couple of things, and one was thank you for your commitment to diversity. When you look at the hiring, you look at the outreach, obviously, that's really important to this agency and to our board. And at the end of the day, it's important just for our industry as a whole, right? Water thankfully is changing, and we're glad to be a piece of that, but I'm glad that you all as a corporation have a commitment to diversity and outreach. And the other thing too, I want to say is thank you for helping us manage our costs and our issues with the facility, because it's obviously been very difficult after the Hyperion situation. And you elaborated on that here. You know, we're not sugarcoating things for members of the public, that this has been really difficult. And so out of that, I did want to ask, my question was, since you all manage operations globally around the world, I mean, have you had any other similar types of things you've experienced with difficult plants? I mean, that you could just elaborate on or not, if this is more unique. But is there something you can say to that?
I'll start off by handing that off to CV, who can further provide detail on a larger level.
So it's a very good question. This plant is a little unique in the sense with the 5 different flavors of reclaimed water, if I may, that we produce. But having said that, we do face certain issues that we face here are all unfortunately global in nature. We do have issues with power failure, power surges, which sometimes knocks out, when our pumps start, they draw a lot of amperage. That's just the nature of things. And they end up either blowing up some cards, especially on older PLC and kind of communication systems. Those are much more susceptible to kind of power spikes. So that's another common one. Third one we do see is unfortunately upsets. Now, not every plant, of course, treats the water from Hyperion, but having said that, any kind of upstream process issues that we face, I mean, here it's turbidity. In some other cases, we've had regulated chemicals come through the stream, which wipes out the biology or, the downstream processes. So yes, we very much are susceptible for all of those. And one of the things which is kind of common to our operations is we are kind of at the tail end, if I may, of the process. So anything goes sideways upstream, we definitely feel the effects of it, and we feel it in a quite an amplified manner. And so we just have to, of course, deal with it and take care of those. It's a very interesting industry. It's a very interesting process.
Well, thank you for the answer. And again, we obviously understand it here at West Basin and the water operators and so on and so forth. But, our communities don't get into the nuance of the operations or may not understand difficulties we're experiencing. And of course, it's multiple agencies and people involved. Obviously, there's a lot of folks who have issues in the region. We're very upset about a number of things. We're hoping everyone will work together and cooperatively. But this has been really difficult on West Basin, and it's been difficult for us financially and to meet those obligations. So again, we're continuing to address it, but just thank you to Veolia and the team for what you're doing, working with our team and on behalf of our ratepayers and constituents. Thank you very much.
I will very much appreciate your presentation today, and thank you for coming down and bringing the team with you. That's really very admirable. And we're looking forward to you continuing to improve the production at SC Little and meeting all of the challenges it does pose. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have another presentation and it's presentation of the to the Playa Vista Job Opportunities Group for the rain barrel distribution event they conducted. Mr. General Manager, would you like to introduce them?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. Obviously, West Basin Municipal Water District's rain barrel distribution events are known throughout the entire service area. And I think it provides two excellent opportunities. One, of course, is engaging in the community when we get to distribute those rain barrels. But the second part of that is working with our NGO community and our community-based organizations as far as the planning and hosting of those events. And with that, it does come with a check presentation. Today, we're looking forward to honoring the volunteer group for a check presentation. And we have the Playa Vista Job Opportunities organization here represented. So Director Gray, I know that this was for Division 2. And so we do have your group here.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Good afternoon. Mic's not on. You don't need, well, I don't need the mic, but thank you all for being here. Again, my name is Gloria Gray. I'm the Director for Division 2 for the agency here. And it's my pleasure to present a check to the Playa Vista Job Opportunities, and really known as PV Jobs, and for their wonderful support of our programs. EJ mentioned the program, but water conservation is also important to us, as well as recycled water. And so I'm always excited when West Basin has opportunities for folks to be a part of what we do in terms of conserving water. And our rain barrel event is just one of many. And I think the others are something that we all are aware of too, the probably give away, but rain barrel is very important too. It's a very popular event. And so for Division 2, we had 300 rain barrels to give away. And so on November 4th last year, we actually gave away all of them. And that's a great thing because, you know, sometimes there are some leftovers, but this event is very important, very popular. We have people lined up early in the morning. And so in order to make that event successful, we partner with our community organizations. And so PV Jobs is one of our community organizations that have been a part of this program for many, many years, as well as other community organizations. And so today, it is my honor to present a check to them for their service, their volunteerism, and the fact they're a part of an event that's important to water reliability, because conservation is very important. I also had the pleasure of touring PV Jobs office last year, I think along with EJ. We did tour it, and what they do, which is very important to the community, at least from my perspective and others, is that they train at-risk youth to become productive in this society. And they do a great job. It is a great organization because we cannot forget those who are at risk in our communities. And so I commend them always for any organization that do focus on at-risk youth. And so with that, I'd like to invite whoever is here from PV Jobs to come up. Just sitting right here, great. EJ, I forgot the check. Can you go get the check? Thank you for being here, you guys.
No, thank you.
Hi, darling.
How are you? Yeah, I know.
You can see they're like family, right? Because I've known them for years. So the executive director now is Mary. What's Mary's last name?
Taylor.
Taylor. And one of the founding members, remember the person who was there before Mary?
Ernest Roberts.
Ernest Roberts. Ernest Roberts really started this organization many, many years ago, and they do wonderful work. I go to their graduations after the community members graduate, and they go on and get jobs, right? And so it really works. So thank you for being here today. And I'd like to present to you a check for $1,000.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Gonna do pictures? Okay. Board members, come on up. We do, what do we do? Me first and then the.
Yeah, maybe we can just help you, take it. And then once this goes up, I'll start sending. All right, I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Corner here. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You like to do president?
No, get the whole board up.
Okay.
You want to try, why don't we try to do it over here for, by direction here? We'll do it in front of the flag.
It's up here or? Anybody else that's part of the?
Yeah, there we go. Not too far.
Come on over.
By the
You
way,
guys got me here.
Hi.
Why don't we?
oh, there's a work. Star of the show. Come on.
Yeah.
Are you guys?
Okay, I'm just gonna.
Is this, do you want it over a little bit or is it centered?
I think I can see everybody.
It's
You
not
see that directed?
deal.
Is director?
You got directed here?
Yeah. He's in there. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
All right, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Let's get a couple more angles. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
One more. EJ, please come up. please. Right there,
It's been a couple of minutes.
right there.
Awesome. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Go this way with this. The name of the 3, 1, 2, and 3. Awesome. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. And you guys are supporting every year.
You're getting the small.
Thank you.
There we go. Right? Yeah. That would be easier to catch.
Oh, don't do that. All right, you're welcome.
Oh, sure.
I was like, I know.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so
That yet?
if we can
No.
get back to the meeting. Next item is, do you have any items that we need to place on the agenda?
No, we do not.
On to the consent calendar. Are there any items any board member would like to remove from the consent calendar or consider it individual?
I move the full consent calendar.
Okay, before I get a second, I would like to remove item 7G5.
Okay.
And we have a motion to approve the consent calendar. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, so Can we take a roll call vote, please?
Yes, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So the motion was to approve the entire consent calendar. President Alvarez, you requested to remove item,
With the exception of item 75, which is considered separate.
okay. I'll call roll. Director Scott Houston.
Yes.
Director Don Deere.
Yes.
Director Gloria Gray.
Yes.
Director Harold Williams.
Yes.
President Desi Alvarez.
We'll vote yes, with the exceptions of items 7D and 7E, which I would like to be recorded in the roll call.
We have no votes from Director Alvarez on 7D and 7E.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, the next item is on our action calendar and item 75 from the consent calendar. And that was a request that the board consider approving a sponsorship for the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce 5K for Freedom One Block event scheduled to be held on Saturday, May 18th, 2024, in the amount of $100. I withdrew that. And I have a question. Where is that event going to take place?
So the event is a 5K race. It does begin on the east side of Del Amo Mall, and then it comes up goes north towards Torrance Boulevard, and then heads further east down Torrance Boulevard, and with a wraparound back. It actually starts and ends on the east side of the Del Amo Mall.
So I follow your description, but that sounds outside of the district boundary.
It is not in the race is not in the West Basin Service Area.
What's the policy in our administrative code about supporting events outside of the district boundary?
West Basin has supported events outside of the West Basin service area. Typically, those events take place near or adjacent to our service area. A good example, I think, would be the Taste of LA, Taste of Soul, excuse me, that takes place outside of our service area. And we've had some others as well.
Do we have a policy?
There's nothing in the policy that speaks to the boundaries, staying within the boundaries of the service area. So the policy is silent on that.
All right,
Mr. Chair,
thank you. So go ahead, Mr. Director Houston.
is it okay?
Yep.
I just wanted to say, and I did bring this forward because the chamber did ask if we might be able to support this, but the thing is, in my opinion, is number one, it happens to be in the city of Torrance. But a lot of the folks who attend and participate come from all around the South Bay. So I think it's safe to assume a lot of the folks who will see our booth will be residents of our service area, and our programs will apply to them. And I have to say, it's really inexpensive, literally $100 to support this endeavor and get a booth. So I think, one, we've never done it before, but number two, it's a great opportunity for continued outreach, right in the heart of our region. So for that reason, I felt it was good to bring forward for the work to decide. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions. There are no other questions. There are motion to move this item.
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay. Vote.
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
Director Gloria Gray, Director Harold Williams,
Yes.
President Desi Alvarez.
No, for the same reason I voted no on all of the other items. Okay, our next item is the agreement with the Oceanographic Training Station for the water education services. Mr. General Manager, would you like to introduce that item?
Yes, Mr. President, this item does begin on packet page 131. As you mentioned, it is related to our education program, and it is an agreement with the Oceanographic Teaching Stations Incorporated for Water Education Services. And for this presentation, we have Janelle and Kyan of Public Information.
Okay. Good afternoon, President Alvarez and members of the board. This action item is to authorize an agreement with Oceanographic Teaching Stations, Inc., otherwise known as OTS, because that's a little bit easier than that mouthful, for our supplementary field trip program at the Roundhouse Aquarium in Manhattan Beach. Our current contract with OTS expires in June, and their proposal for the next term is included as attachment A of this agenda item. As you all know, we've worked closely with OTS since 2006 to add value to our field trip program, where after school visits us at the Edward C. Little Water Recycling Facility, students visit the Roundhouse Aquarium to meet the marine life that benefits firsthand from West Basin's water recycling efforts and learn real-life implications of water quality protection and sustainability. In the past 5 years alone, we've served nearly 13,000 students through this partnership. And I will say that because this is the only aquarium in our service area and within close proximity to ECL, we are pursuing a sole source agreement, which is permitted in the district's admin code. This is a 3-year agreement to support long-term program planning. And if approved, this has the capacity to serve up to 6,000 students each school year, up to 18,000 students total through June 2027. I will also add that I continue to evaluate the effectiveness of their program. I continue to get feedback from our local teachers, and it continues to come out positive. And they've been a really valuable member of our service area, a small business, and a local business as well. So with that, I'll pause here to see if there are any questions. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and read the recommendation.
I do have.
Go ahead, Director Gray.
Thank you, for your report. You said you do evaluate the effectiveness, and I know that water education is very important. So how do you do that? I mean, what do you look for?
Yes, so I actually go and visit the aquarium regularly just to observe myself to make sure that their content curriculum actually connects to what we offer at the facility. So they do have a PowerPoint presentation that connects aspects of pollution and water quality and how West Basin's water recycling efforts helps to prevent discharge out in the Santa Monica Bay, which is the home of the animals that are featured at the aquarium. So that's one of the ways that we evaluate. And we also have a yearly survey that we send out to all of the teachers that participate in our program. And we ask them a question regarding their programming at the aquarium as well. Continues to be highly positive. And a lot of teachers call out that it's a strong highlight of their students' field trip as well.
There are quite a few schools and teachers and classes, children involved, interested in it, correct?
That's correct. Yes. I would say that a majority of our classes choose to go to the Roundhouse Aquarium. If there's a school that has like a minimum day, or if it's a high school, they rarely opt out. So a majority of our schools choose, and they love to go to the aquarium.
You know, you hear me always talk about diversity as well as Jack too and others. So could you analyze, the students and who are interested, because they are young and you're educating them now, and that's great, but they are the future. So it would be nice to kind of look at those numbers and see, who's actually interested. So if you could just look at that, and I'll ask the general manager if you could do that, kind of provide us some information. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Greg.
I have a question or two, and that was, so first of all, when the students come visit our plant, the facility, then afterwards they take the bus and go down to the aquarium, is that right?
That's correct.
So the two are built in together, right?
That's correct.
Which also means that schools that are not even necessarily quote unquote in the South Bay get a chance to see the aquarium, right? Like the Culver City folks or some of the others, right?
That's
So I think that just speaks for itself, that these young people not only come down and get to see it, see Little, but then they get to go further down. Or if they're coming from the southbound end to north. So that's great to know. The other thing I would like to see is, assuming we pass this, and I think we should, I would just like to see us have a little more relationship building with the folks at the aquarium, because I really don't know any of those people. And I live right next door. And I think when we have these great partners, like Surfrider South Bay and some of the other ones we're working with, that it really behooves us and them to have strong relationships. So is there a way you can please connect their activities with the board? And so if, we want to go down and visit with them, or they've got a function they'd like to invite us, would they please do that?
Yes, we will work with the Office of the General Manager to make sure those opportunities get sent out to the board. I will share that they do also have an Earth Day event coming up. I believe it's the third weekend of April, that West Basin staff is already committed to attend, so we'll be sure to share that information.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Director Newton? Question, I understand that there's about 6,000 students that come through. Do you have an idea of what the school breakdown is? What predominantly the students come from?
I do have that information. Actually, it corresponds directly with our info. So one of the information items in this agenda is a regular education update, which actually has an attachment of the breakdown by division as well. So that information is in the agenda packet, but we should work with the general manager to make sure that gets sent out to the board as well.
You can follow up and be interested in the schools.
It's on packet page 163 is where that attachment is, if you would like to take a look.
I'll look for it later. Okay, well, thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead, you can read the recommendation.
Staff recommends that the board authorize the general manager to enter into a sole source agreement with Oceanographic Teaching Stations Inc. in the not to exceed amount of $138,000 for a contract term of 3 years from July 1, 2024 to July 30, 2027 to provide supplementary water education services for the district's field trip program.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, we will consider a motion to adopt the recommendation.
I move staff's recommendation.
The second, can you take a vote?
Director Scott Houston,
Yes.
Director Don Deere,
Yes.
Director Gloria Gray,
Yes.
Director Harold Williams,
Yes.
President Desi Alvarez.
Yes. We're going to take item 8B after we come back from closed session. So we'll be moving on to the information calendar. Is anyone want any of the presentations in the information calendar, or should we just receive and file?
I think we can receive and file. So I'll move the information calendar as is.
Second.
All right, I don't think we need a vote on that. Everybody is in agreement. There's no objections. We'll receive and file the information calendar and then receive and file the items in item 10. And we have a motion to receive and file item 10.
You do that at the same time? One motion for both?
One motion.
I'll make a motion to receive and file items 9 and 10.
There was the second, which was,
Second.
okay, and Director Gray second that amended motion. So, if there are no objections, we will, receive and file items 9 and 10. Which moves us then to general managers.
President Alvarez, if we could just do a quick vote on that, just for the record, it won't take long. Director Scott Houston. Director Don Deere.
Yes.
Director Gloria Gray.
Yes.
Director Harold Williams.
Yes.
Director Desi Alvarez.
Director Williams okay with Director Deere making the motion when they make the motion the first time?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Next item up is the general manager's activity report. Mr. General Manager, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. President, you should have a hard copy of the general manager's report in front of you. I did want to mention, because I've discussed this with several of you over the past month, I wanted to highlight that I do have a meeting coming up on April 4th. I will be meeting with Mr. Jan Vogel, the Executive Director of the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, to discuss opportunities for collaboration between their organization and, of course, West Bay Municipal Water District. And as I've discussed with a few of you, that meeting has been very difficult to schedule, but we're excited to have it on the books. And I appreciate Mr. Vogel's time and willingness to meet with me. So that is scheduled, and I'll be doing that, briefing the board after that meeting.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, I just want to say, well, thank you, EJ, for that update, because I know most of us have been around here quite a while, but this agency has been extremely supportive of the WIB for many years. Director Gray and myself, actually all of us, with their endeavors. So I'm glad we're going to look at collaboration, and please work with Jan and, not just, remind him of our commitment, but also how can we do even better on his, working with him and his group. Okay. Thank you.
Next item.
Chair, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I won't repeat what Director Houston said, totally agree. And thank you for reaching out to Jan Vogel. And I hope the meeting is very soon. And I think it can be very helpful in terms of developing a partnership with Young University. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other comments, then we'll move on to the general counsel.
I have no report for open session.
In AB 1234. Director Houston, go ahead.
I do. I always like to say mine at the meeting, but AB 1234. So since our last board meeting, the things that I have done. Let's see, it was March 4th and 5th, our Sacramento legislative trip. Director Alvarez was there as well, but Matt and EJ were there with our staff as well as our lobby team up in Sacramento. So it was an excellent trip, very productive, and good to see our lawmakers and key staff while we're there. On March 10th, I attended the Culver City Screenland 5K, which was one of our sponsorships. And we also had a booth there. Mel was there manning that booth. An excellent outreach opportunity. I'd never been to that event before, and it's big and crowded and good because I think we had a lot of folks come up to the booth as well, right, Mel? And we see a lot of our neighboring partners, so that was great. On the 15th of March, the Malibu Boys and Girls Club, I did a check presentation as one of my nonprofit partners for Rain Barrels, and also got a tour of their clubhouse in its current state. Erin was there. Thank you, Erin. She's still here, but there she is way back there. But the Boys and Girls Club of Malibu has been a wonderful partner with us for years. And I'm so happy to support them with our rain barrels. Let's see, March 19th, El Camino College. I was invited to speak at a class there. There were about 30 students. They're doing the sustainability series through the School of Architecture. And I also want to thank EJ and staff for helping, and Amy for helping assist with that. That's just kind of one of those things that happens. But I'm so glad that we can continue partnering with El Camino and get young people interested in water. And this is not even the job fair we had separate. And last but not least, on the 20th of March, I attended the Culver City Rotary Club to give a presentation and also present them with a check, because that was my other nonprofit partner this last cycle. And Gus was there to assist me, but also the fact that, again, supporting the local nonprofits through our Rain Barrel program is an awesome opportunity. And personally, I'm just grateful to those groups in Division 4 and was happy to give them some needed funds. So thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Any other directors who'd like to?
Chair.
Director Gray?
I was gonna do this in my director's comments, but I did attend, along with the former president, the career fair. I think it was job fair, career fair last week. And I think it's important to mention because it was such a wonderful event. There were at least a couple hundred people in the room, young people. It was at El Camino College that was there and spoke. And many of the vendors and Viola was there and lots of folks. So it was a great event. And I was just happy to see so many people come out and want to learn about water. It really did. And so it was wonderful. So thank you, Kenny, and thank you, staff. I want to start naming names of the over there, but everybody who was involved and it was outstanding. So thank you for having that. I do want to mention that.
Yes, a big thank you to staff, and I know Janelle played a significant role in that, along with Amy and her team. So that was a great event.
Okay, is there no other comments or reports? The board member?
No, thank you.
Move on to closed session. So, Mr. General Counsel, would you like to introduce the closed
Yeah,
session?
thank you, Mr. President. We will go into closed session for the two items that are listed on the agenda. Conference legal counsel anticipated litigation for 4 cases. In the specific case, San Diego County Water Authority versus Palm Water District listed as well.
Okay, we will return to open session. And with that, Mr. General Counsel, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, nothing, no action taken during closed session. That's reportable.
Okay, any comments from, the board members?
I do.
Okay, Director Houston.
I just want to say, and I know most of our staff is all gone, maybe some are still watching, but I mentioned it at the FNA meeting the other day. The water career night was incredible. So for those of us who were able to be there, staff will update us later, but I know there was a minimum of 100+ students who showed up. We had like 200 some RSVPs, but over 100 showed up that evening. The room was packed. It was incredible. All the different partner agencies that were there, and really good energy. And I just have to commend our staff so much for that. Got a lot of attention and buzz. Director Gray was there as well. And Director Gray, I'm talking about career night. It was off the charts, quite honestly. And then I remember I was leaving at about pushing a little after 7. It was closing. And people were still outside downstairs at the demonstration spot with WRD or something. And then later, I think EJ, someone told me on Friday that people lingered around outdoors downstairs, even after things had shut down at the event. So I just want to come in on that. And I can't wait what we continue doing on our partnerships from that night. So thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. President.
Very well. Any other comments? Director Gray, do you have any comments?
Just want to commend staff again for that event that Director Houston just mentioned. And thank you for all the reports today, and it's good to be back. So thank you.
Okay, if there's no other comments, we will adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, everyone.